With your panel, I'm thinking it might be better during the lunch break for you to have cards available for people to submit their questions. Hey, we're going to have a panel this afternoon here to answer your questions. We'd like you to submit those questions during our lunch break. There's cards at the back tables. Pick one up, fill it out, turn it in at the tables, whatever. That way, somebody on your team can decide which of those questions appeal to the most people in the audience, and your facilitator of the panel can present the question on that person's behalf, so that we're making the biggest application to the most people. It also takes away the danger of this going off the rails because some crazy person gets up at the mic and rattles on for half an hour or has a question that's totally not applicable. And it also allows people who would never go to the mic to have a chance to have their question answered because they can submit it in that way. And you just never know where the questions are going to go sometimes when it's on the fly like that. But if you can have them submitted in advance and a team member pick 4 or 5 of them that are going to be the most applicable to everybody we know that's here today, then it helps you to, again, trying to structure everything towards the best results that we can get for these people's time. Anytime they're coming in on like a panel or they're coming into a recording, set the intention that this is content. Like, this is not entertainment. The fact that you're seeing this on a screen doesn't mean check out right now. This is content, and here's what I want you to listen for. And if you set that up, then they'll be much more engaged in something that might otherwise tune out. The music is a great thing to set the tone, right? So in the morning when you're bringing people in, make sure you've got some upbeat music, because we don't want them to come in. They're already going to be groggy and, needing their caffeine fix and whatever. So upbeat music in the morning, generally upbeat music even as you're starting the sessions or in between the sessions, just to kind of raise that energy again in the room. Right. We've been sitting for a while. Sometimes it may be heavy topics. Right. And so having that energy in the room. As far as the slides in the break times, when it's an official break, if you can put a countdown on the screen so that anyone in the room or walking by the room can see how many minutes I've got left, that is huge. As well as always being sure whoever's giving those announcements at the end of the session reminds them, don't forget when the gong sounds, you've got 2 minutes to be back in the room. We're going to start on time. And then you have to start on time. Don't be like, well, we're going to give them a few more minutes or everybody's just going to walk all over you for the rest of the event. You've got to start on time. Using those book giveaways, the signed copies, say, for those of you back in the room, we're going to start with a giveaway of our signed copy from so-and-so, and then do a raffle draw. The minute it's time to start with that, and they have to be in the room to win. Those are some things for that, the comeback song, the comeback sound that they need to listen to. Some people actually have a song that they'll play that's like a 2-minute long song. So instead of a gong, it continues to go for those 2 minutes, and they may not hear it initially, but it kind of kicks into their consciousness that, oh, that's the song. We got to get back in there. And so if you do that, again, it's like, so here's the song you're going to hear. And when you hear that song, you got 2 minutes to be back in the room, kind of thing. Any of the announcements that could go up on the screen in between, like, don't forget to fill out your question card and turn it in, or don't forget to fill this, or we've got resources for you back here, the speaker information. And I always encourage people, if the speakers have slides, that they submit those slides in advance so that you can make sure they work with your system, that they work with the system in the room you're going to be in. Make sure that they're not self-promoting or doing something that you don't want on screen. You can test to make sure if they have video or audio that's working in advance. If they do have things that are going to need to be handed out, you've got to have your on-site team ready with those. So the minute the one thing ends, they're passing stuff out, or else it's got to be on the table at the beginning of that next, when we come back from the next break, things need to already be on the table for the next 3 sessions or something. Anything like that you can do just removes friction and makes you look better, makes the speakers look better. It makes for a better experience overall. People don't make buying decisions or big decisions like this unless they feel safe. And so everything we're doing here is trying to create a safe space, a safe environment in which they can make the best decision. And
Mhm.
so by removing unknowns, explaining things clearly so they're not wondering what will happen, we fear the things we don't understand, right? And so by explaining things clearly, setting expectations clearly, letting them know what's coming next, all of those kinds of things removes that mental friction of, I don't know what's happening next, and allows them to be truly present in the moment and feel safe in that environment. Another idea just to make it feel different when they walk back in the room that would be really easy and inexpensive. If you just go buy a packet of confetti somewhere and during lunch break, somebody sprinkles a little bit of confetti on every table, right? That initially gives a party feel when they walk back in the room. Something's different about this session. Or, like I said, if you just have a couple of two or three helium balloons on each side of the stage when they come back from lunch, or something like it feels different when I walk in, and there's an expectation and a curiosity there that's going to immediately lift the energy just because of that. What works the best is either to have the speaker who does the session do the closing announcements before the break or introduce the following speaker at the end, or to have an MC that does the entire event so that there's consistency.
Mhm.
Regardless, what the team can do to make it seamless is to be sure to have those beginning announcements and ending announcements on the slides for whoever is up there so that nothing gets forgotten. Whoever's up there sees those announcements that need to be shared and what time to come back and to listen for the gong, and like all of those things that need to be said should be on that slide and bullet point for whoever's doing that at each juncture. They call it a comfort monitor, or something that the
Oh,
speaker sees from stage. But the
yeah.
other way to do it is to put those announcements on a card. Something like that can be handwritten in the moment before or whatever if you need to, right? Or you could text someone and you hand
Mhm.
the card to whoever's going to do the announcements. Sometimes it can be clunky to try to find the right text in the moment on stage, but there are other
Mhm.
ways to do that kind of thing. And a lot of this I've found sometimes that if I pre-program things like the announcements, sometimes things change at the last minute. Like, what if
See.
lunch is running 10 minutes behind and I need to
Mhm.
tell the speaker he's got 10 more minutes? Like, don't
Mhm.
turn him loose for 10 more minutes, In that case, what do you do? If you have a comfort monitor, somebody can just put the thing up on the comfort monitor and tell them, lunch is running late. You got 10 more minutes kind of thing. You don't owe the attendees a schedule. When you say we're going to have breakfast from 8 to 9, we're going to have sessions from 9 to 12:30, we're going to have lunch from 12:30 to 1, like that's all they need because they've signed up for this. It doesn't matter who speaks in what order. And if you give it to them and then you change your order for some reason, then you got a bunch of people upset because, oh, I wanted to be in the room for so and so and now you switched it and I didn't get to hear it, whatever the case may be. And so it's better just to give your attendees a general session and be like, it's all going to be good. You're going to love every minute of it. Plan to be in the room, clear your schedule. Here's the big breaks that you need to know. And beyond that, like we're going to make it the best that we can make it. If you cannot give specifics, you're better off in the long run in the whole experience of things. That's all they really need to know. And then if you have a list of speakers and things they'll be covering, that's great information because it encourages them to come. But for your logistical, nitpicky people, you're not going to be in trouble if you have to flip something at the last minute because a speaker got caught in traffic or whatever could happen. It gives you
Awesome.
more flexibility as a team to still keep the experience seamless because you don't have somebody sitting on the second row going, but you said they were speaking this hour. Tell them who's speaking, tell them what they're speaking about, and day one or day two, or
Mhm.
that kind of thing is great. What I'm saying
Uh-huh.
is just don't get so super detailed that you don't have room to flex. You're providing breakfast and you're providing lunch. And so you could say sessions are going to be from 8 to 5 with breakfast and lunch provided and just leave it at that. And then here's the speakers for day one and their topics. They're coming to your location. They've already got to free up their schedule of anything else because they're committing to be there from those times. What does it really matter what order you do things in?